We ended up with the definition of emunah, and we continued with the explanation why Rabbi Yehuda Levi started his book with a dream, okay, the dream of the king. So we'll go through that again because most of you weren't here, and then I have a bunch of sources, and if you'll be interested, then we can go in depth into the sources as well, and if not, then we'll start with the book. Okay, so but at least this oral explanation for the dreams is important in order to understand Rabbi Yehuda Levi's reasoning of why he started with a dream. Second. Okay, so in the Talmud, it mentions that a person who commits himself to a vow or swear, oath, that he won't sleep 3 nights in a row, the sages teach us that his vow is dismissed immediately, and he'll be punished by lashes because he committed himself to a vow that is not possible. Yeah. Okay. How many what?
Lashes.
That I don't recall.
Actually depends on how much you can take. So for a different person, it's different thing.
That's for regular makot. For like this sort of thing, I think it's just the sages just give you a number.
The sages determined, but that's a side point. That's not our focus. Our focus is on the idea that our sages were very clear that is not something that is possible. Right? So, okay, and from our sages, okay, if we're talking about mentioned in the Talmud, I don't know, 2,000 years ago and before that. That they had that kind of information, that kind of knowledge, and in the future, in our century, so in science, they wanted to understand the value of dreams, of dreaming. So they did this experiment, and they took volunteers to a sleeping lab, okay? And in the sleeping lab for 3 nights in a row, okay, during the day, those volunteers, each individual did whatever he did, but at night they would come to the sleeping lab. Now, according to science, how do we know that an individual, when he's asleep, that he's dreaming? Okay, so science defined that there's what they call the term REM, okay, rapid eye movement. So the moment that a person, when he's asleep, begins that rapid eye movement, that's a signal, that's a sign that he is now dreaming. Basically, we know that a dream can last 10 seconds, 30 seconds, not too much more than that or less than that. Okay, it seems like when we wake up in the morning like that, I had a dream the whole night, but basically it was lasted that very brief time.
I don't know if it's REM sleep, but some people certainly are dreaming for longer than that. I know I've had to deal with people who've had PTSD, and they can be running, they can be fighting. It certainly lasts longer than 90 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are always exceptions. We're talking on the norm. Okay. Now, okay, so what happened was that those volunteers, when they went to sleep, they hooked these electric wires to their brain, and whenever they realized that those people started the rapid eye movement, they sent electric pulse to the brain. Okay, now what happened was they didn't wake up, but the rapid eye movement stopped. Okay, so after the first night, when they woke up, they felt very, very, very tired, and then they did what they did during the day. They came back the second night, the same idea. They interrupted with the REM, and then the next morning they were exhausted. They can barely function. The third night, when they interrupted with the REM, they realized all of a sudden that the vital organs and systems in the body stopped to function. So there was a threat to their life of those volunteers. They had to quit the whole experiment altogether. Okay, but the bottom line is that they realized that dreaming is vital to existence. Okay, it's not just a psychological reflection of what you go through the day, your subconsciousness, of your problems, your whatever. Okay, that's a side point. That's not the main idea. Okay, so science realized that dreaming is vital to your existence. Okay, up to here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, in science, they were not able to explain why. Okay, and with our sages, they gave us a very deep and interesting explanation of.
That they got from Hashem.
Hmm?
That they got from Hashem.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
According to Mayo Clinic, REM sleep is about 20% of your sleep.
Hmm.
It
So
might,
it might have changed in science in time. That is, from what I was updated, it was a long time ago. That's what I was given as the data, but it could be updated during the years.
I think he's referring to a single dream at a time, and so 20%. It might be 20% of your sleep, but multiple dreams.
That also, but I don't know. I don't want to claim facts that I'm not positive about.
The important thing is it's vital to your existence.
Yes.
To have
Yeah.
REM sleep.
What?
To have REM sleep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Meaning the dreams. So okay. So our sages were explaining the following. So they stated that every individual, every human being, was created by three wisdoms. Okay, three types of wisdoms. I'll first name them, and then we'll explain in depth each one of them. So, first wisdom is the wisdom of the body. Okay, and then there's the wisdom of the soul, or in Hebrew it's nefesh. And then the third one is the internal wisdom. Okay, so now we're going to explain each one of them. So, wisdom of the body, very simple, is our senses. Okay, your vision, your hearing, and etc. The second wisdom is more complex and more complicated. The soul, the nefesh, meaning our intellect, our attributes. Okay, so that's something much more complex. Okay, the way we behave, the way you respond, the way you act in life, according to your characteristics, according to your awareness, according to your intellect, according to your emotions, your imagination. So that is all to do with the wisdom of the nefesh, soul. And the third one is, as we said, the internal wisdom, or you can call it your consciousness, or that spark, the divine spark from Hashem. Okay, up to here? Yes, no, maybe? All right.
Is there a Hebrew word for the internal wisdom?
In Hebrew, we call it chokhmah pnimit. Those three wisdoms, basically, ideally, should be like a pipe, one on top of the other. When I want to picture it in my hands, it's like we have I said the wisdom of the body, which is the first one, and underneath the soul and underneath the internal one, it's like a pipe. Now, the internal wisdom basically is that spark that gives life to the whole organism of the human being. Okay? It's that spark that gives life and existence to our whole body, our whole organism. However, that internal spark, internal wisdom, also needs to be recharged. Okay? Where is it recharged from? Ezra, that's what you were saying before.
The REM.
No, from Hashem. Okay?
At night, our souls venture back up to Hashem.
Hold on with that. So, okay, that internal wisdom receives its spark from Hashem. Okay, up to here? So, is there the marker here? I could have showed you. So, it's like if we have these three wisdoms, it's like 1, 2, and 3, or if I want to look at it, 1, 2, 3, but like you can go through. Okay, so ideally, if it's like a pipe, as we said, then the spark from Hashem comes through the body wisdom, the wisdom of the body, the wisdom of the soul, and then recharges the internal wisdom. That's ideally how it should be done. Okay, unfortunately, it's not. Why? Because we're not ideal. Okay, we use our senses in the wrong way. We abuse our senses. We see things we shouldn't see. We hear things we shouldn't hear. We smell things we shouldn't smell. We eat things we shouldn't eat. We touch things we shouldn't touch. So by doing that, we are diverting our wisdom of the body from its say ideal place or spot. Or so when that happens, okay, as we said here with the three circles, then the wisdom of the body is not on spot, so it creates a barrier, creates a block to the wisdom of the soul and the internal wisdom. Okay, up to here?
Okay.
Yes. All right. But if that's not enough, then, as we said, in the wisdom of the nefesh, the intellect and our characteristics, they also are corrupted, right? We have all these negative characteristics of anger, lack of patience, jealousy, zealousy, hate, and ego, right? All those nice characteristics. And since we are corrupted with those characteristics, then that causes a double block, double barrier for the internal wisdom to come through, for the spark to come through to the internal wisdom. Okay, is that clear?
Okay.
All right. So since that's the case, and since in order to exist, we must have the internal wisdom recharged, we need a solution, and we need it fast, because otherwise we won't last. Okay? What is that solution? Okay, so many people ask this question and say, tshuva, study Torah, daven. But that's not it. That's not enough. That won't do it. Okay? So, let's think this together. What are the things or the factors that are creating that block? From what we just mentioned. What are the factors that are creating the block?
External distractions?
No. From the wisdoms that I talked about.
External wisdoms?
Ego.
So that's with the wisdom of the soul, the nefesh, right? So we said corrupted characteristics, and then there was another other factor.
Eating, God forbid, something you shouldn't.
So that's with the wisdom of the body. Okay, so our senses and our characteristics basically are what are creating those blocks. Okay, Ben, what you said with external, there are in addition or are the means that will cause our characteristics or body to create that block. Okay, but okay up to here. Okay, so if our senses and our characteristics are the factor, the cause of this barrier, what do we need to do? I mean, now, as we said, we need to receive that spark for our internal wisdom every day.
You have to bypass them.
Okay, excellent. Okay, we need to find a solution, a way how to bypass our senses and our characteristics. How do we do that? When is there a time where your senses and your characteristics are not functional?
You're sleeping.
Okay? When you sleep, your senses are not functional and your attributes are not functional either. Correct? Okay, if you were asleep, then I wouldn't waste my time sitting here and speaking, right? Yes or no?
Correct.
You know, sometimes I had these wise guys that when I would state this, they would say, "That's not true. Put earphones on and go to sleep with it, and then you can study this way." And I said, if that was the case, then people wouldn't have to waste their time going to universities, and they could just go to sleep and listen to all their lectures and get degrees for free. So, okay, that's not the case. It's true that before you go to sleep and you listen to something, then it enters and subconsciously can also interfere with your sleep and your dreams. But it's not that while you're asleep that you can truly listen to a lecture or whatever. Okay, so when we go to sleep, we put aside, okay, the senses and our characteristics, and that's how there's a place or room for that divine spark to come through and to recharge the internal wisdom. And that is reflected or that is expressed through our dreams. Okay, that is the meaning of our dreams. Our dreams are an expression of that internal spark, that divine spark that will revive or recharge the internal wisdom. Questions up to here? No? Okay. Yeah.
What are the three parts of the soul again? Wisdom.
The three wisdoms of a human being. We said the wisdom of the body, which are the senses. Wisdom of the nefesh, we said, is the intellect, our characteristics, our imagination. And we said the internal wisdom.
Oh, I see.
Okay? So, as we said again, the dreams are the expression of that divine spark, right? However, not every dream is expressing that. Okay, the fact that you're dreaming doesn't mean that you're now receiving a divine, say, message or connection, because there are levels of dreamings, and okay, well then we'll add more information about that. But okay, so first, if if you were walking on a street and then you saw, I don't know, a Corvette, okay, and then you dream about it at night that you have one, okay, that definitely is not the kind of dreamings and say divine spark that comes through that we're talking about. Okay, that is more to do with what Freud is discussing and your subconsciousness, and that is interfering and expressed in your dreams. Okay, that's not the kind of dreams that we're talking about. Okay, obviously, dreams that we're talking about, and funny or not, but is like what Pharaoh had, for instance. Okay, what Yaakov had.
Prophetic dreams.
Not well, they could be, but not always.
Something that doesn't typically occur in nature.
Not also that not necessarily. But the meaning is that it has a value, it has a meaning, it has a message.
But all of those dreams, whether Pharaoh's dream, Joseph's dream,
the word prophecy, yeah, true.
Yaakov's dream. Well, they were all things that like you wouldn't see every day, and like
true.
They were beyond nature.
What I'm going to say is that that's maybe a higher level, but it's not a necessity that it has to be that kind of dream.
In order to have
that
depth and meaning.
Yeah, meaning that if any of you have a problem, okay, if it's a problem, I don't know, in the Gemara, problem with I don't know, question you have about Ashkafa, question you have with what to do about any topic, even a math problem, okay, and you can't solve it, you're not able to solve it. Our sages suggest that before you say the Shema and where you go to sleep, you ask Hashem, please help me receive an answer, a solution. Okay, and you try to focus your dreams to refer to that. And many times people state that when they did that, they received an answer through their dream. Okay? So that's why I'm saying it doesn't have to be something unnatural or just prophecy. That's a higher level, but it could be something that is to do with here and now. Okay? Okay, but obviously, as we said, then if it's a message like from Hashem that gives us prophecy, then obviously that's a higher level. Okay?
That's really interesting. But I hear you talking about two different purposes of the dreams. One dream to solve a problem or fix an issue, and then the other dream is prophecy.
Right. Well, yeah, because prophecy. Well, also in prophecy we have different types of prophecies, but or more, some different types of prophecies. But one could be as for an individual, one could be for the nation, one could be for the whole world. So it depends on what kind. Anyway, and I wanted to continue this whole idea with the dreaming. So. Our sages say that there's like 4 stages here, and of let's say like spiritual hierarchy. So basically, according to what we just said, everybody dreams. Okay, if you don't dream, you're dead. And at least according to the Gemara, in 3 nights in a row, if you didn't dream, you're gonna die. Now, so in that case, everybody dreams. However, a person can wake up in the morning and he can claim, I didn't dream. Okay, but that's not true. The fact is he doesn't remember his dream. Okay? So that is Okay, don't panic, but that is like the lowest level spiritual level. Okay, person. Okay, maybe to be more harsh, but just I'm mentioning a fact in the Talmud. A person who doesn't remember his dream at least once a week is considered wicked.
That does include if you like remember that you had a dream. You don't
Hold on. We'll get to there. Okay, so I said the lowest level.
That?
Huh?
Who said that?
The Talmud. Again, and if you want later, next time, to go in depth with all the sources that I collected referring to all of this, then we can. If you don't, then we'll continue on. We'll carry on. But the lowest level is where he does not remember at all that he ever had a dream, and it's like, no, I didn't dream. Okay, that's the lowest. On top of that is a person that recalls there was a dream, but it's so cloudy, so foggy, he doesn't remember what it was. Okay, so that maybe was what you're referring to.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's a little bit higher. And on top of that, a person that remembers his dream. And a higher level than that is where he is able to give interpretation to the dream. Okay, in our days, very, very rare and very, very few rabbis can claim that they have that kind of knowledge. Talmud and Rav Kook is also referring to that people can come with, they have disturbing nightmares or dreams, whatever, and they want to calm down. They come to a rabbi, please help me solve this. What is this? What's the meaning of this? The rabbis have, with their wisdom and their authority, it's flexible to give an interpretation the way they see it. But that's why also, if you go to one rabbi and he gives you one interpretation, then go to a different rabbi, he gives you a whole different interpretation, doesn't mean necessarily that one of them is wrong. Okay, it's just different angles or points of view how to look at it.
Is it the first interpretation of the one that takes form?
What do you mean?
Don't you have to be very careful who you share your dream to? Because if they interpret it badly, that's how it's going to be, when it could just as easily be the other way.
That's true, and that meaning, so then the person who reveals his dream has to be careful and responsible of how he presents it, but also the rabbi that receives the information has to be very careful of his interpretation, because he might now cause a chain reaction that will be negative.
No, he's saying that he fixes it. In other words, so that so somebody says, I dreamed I had a pile of money. If the first person he goes to says, yes, that means you're going to win the lottery ticket, then that's what will happen.
No.
I think that's what you're saying.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I think I read that in the Gemara.
So therefore, you should hide your dreams and not tell anybody, because if they say that something's going to happen to it, it might become true.
Well, there's the story
because they said it.
It's like we say.
You don't think Akash Baruch Hu has more power than some soothsayer who tells you what some dream means?
Well,
I think it's more to do with psychology here, where in Hebrew we call it nevuah shemakshimait atzma, where a person tells you something will happen and you believe him, and then it will happen because you trusted or you believed what he said. Okay, suppose he says, listen, if you're going to climb that mountain, you're going to break your leg. And he's like, probably. Like, whatever. Or if you're going to try this, you're going to fail. Or if you're going to do this, this and this will happen to you. And he trusts that person, or he believes that person. Most likely that thing will happen to him. Again, it's not a guarantee. Just saying that it's but that has to do with psychology. That has nothing to do with prophecy or.
That reminds me of faith healings I've been to, where they say, and if this person isn't healed, it's only because somebody in this room didn't have perfect faith that they were going to be healed.
No. I think he's talking about a different topic. There's a whole.
No. That's a different story. That's not what I'm. That's not what I mean. And again, you're talking about the dynamic of a group and faith, and we're talking about this psychology where somebody.
So that we should tell people, study Torah. You're going to become fabulously financially affluent off of it, and that'll help them become affluent in their study of Torah.
I think it changes their definition of affluency.
Well,
They realize that.
But that's why I specifically said financial, though.
Therefore, I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There's no problems buying groceries.
Mm-hmm.
There's no problems with rent. I'm affluent. Someone will come to that realization.
Mm-hmm.
But where you're getting at with the Kuzari, why did he start with the dream?
Right.
Well, I can see where you're getting at. What you're saying is, look, he started with a dream because it goes directly to the soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the essence of who we are, and we can't function without it. So it starts with a dream.
Let's maybe continue with that point. So it's stronger than that. Meaning, when Pharaoh had those dreams, he was panicked and he was asking for his advisors, magicians, for interpretation, for a solution. Okay. So all these bunch of advisors came, and one was saying A, one was saying B, one saying C, and it doesn't matter exactly what they said, but he didn't accept any one of them. Okay, he didn't accept any one of them. Okay, but when Yosef told him the interpretation, he immediately accepted. Why? Okay, why did Pharaoh immediately accept that interpretation?
Well, Yosef told him what the dream actually was.
But still, he was not forced to accept his explanation.
That's true.
Why did he accept Yosef and not his advisors? Okay, why? Because he knew inside that is the truth. Okay, he received that divine spark. Okay, but it was foggy for him because he's impure. He's not righteous. So he needs the righteous to clear the way and give him the picture. But the picture is already inside. Okay, it entered. It's inside of him. So when Yosef shows him the different picture, he says, that's it. Okay? So, in this case, he has the certainty that it's true. And similar here in the Kuzari book, when the king of Kuzar, the Gentile king, receives this dream, which is sort of like a divine inspiration, he has the certainty that the message in the dream is true, is absolute truth. And when he'll encounter different scholars, and some of them will try to claim that his dream is not true. Okay, that he misunderstood it, that his interpretation is wrong. And it will always come back to the dream that he has absolute certainty that it is true, and therefore nothing intellectually, emotionally, or whatever can rock and shake his certainty that dream is true. Okay?
Yeah.
What about the dream when somebody dreams about a passage from the Tanakh or from the Torah?
Right. What's the question?
Yeah, that's the question. Like, what meaning does that dream have?
So, in Masechet Brachot in the Talmud, there's a whole chapter talking about different types of dreams and their meanings. Okay, so there's a bunch of different meanings for different images or animals or things that you can dream in at night. Just by the way, if I didn't mention, when we're talking about dreaming, it's only at night. Okay, if you're asleep during the day, those dreams don't count, and you don't receive then the divine.
Really?
Yeah. So therefore, get your pure and let's say most important sleep and is during the night. Okay,
So what do we do with the ones from the day? How do we treat them?
then you don't relate to them. They could be subconsciousness or whatever, but they're not.
They're not a direct line to Hashem.
Yeah. So just for instance, it says there, if somebody was dreaming about olive oil, then he should expect to receive wisdom of the Torah. Why? Because in the temple, the menorah, which is representing the source of wisdom for Torah and wisdom in general, was lit by olive oil. Okay, so that's an example of interpretation of a dream. Okay? Now, as we said, since those, if it's our senses or characteristics that are creating that block from the divine, let's say, we say this spark from Hashem, the more a person is, say, clean and fixed with his senses and his characteristics, the less he needs. The less he needs what?
Dreams.
And therefore, the less he needs? Sleep.
Oh.
Okay? The more a person is righteous and he uses, or he has, so he receives his spark from Hashem even when he's awake. Okay? So that's why our sages say that King David, for instance, would sleep something like 1 minute.
Are those 2 hours?
No, 1 minute. They say like a horse sleep. Put his head like this and like 60 breaths, and that was enough. Much later on, if you're talking about 2 hours, so yeah, they say the Vilna Gaon. Heard of the Vilna Gaon, Hagra?
Mm-hmm.
So his students brought on the information that he used to sleep 2 hours, but not in a row. Okay, he would divide his night to 2 hours, which half an hour each time, and that was enough for him. Okay, so that explains how people that have a direct line don't need that much sleep.
So purity of mind, purity of heart,
Mm-hmm.
purity of our body,
Right.
allows you to sleep less.
Or yeah. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu, for instance. Okay, just a second. Moshe Rabbeinu.
That's why there's a tradition of hiding under your Rav's bed.
Yeah. So Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, didn't need sleep for 40 days and nights. Okay, but at that case, it was even beyond that because he didn't eat even food. Okay, so that is even beyond just sleep. Yeah.
How much does the Rav sleep at night?
It changes. It's not
On average.
say 5, 6. But sometimes needs more. Sometimes less is okay. It changes. But yeah, there's some rabbis that can sleep 4 hours a night, and that's enough for them. Yeah. But Rambam says go to sleep your 6, 7, 8 hours. Okay, and again, it's individually because there's some people that just according to their physiology, they need that 7, 8 hours. And if they won't function. Okay, so again, it's not, don't try it at home, as they say. Live your life. Just try to fix your characteristics as much as you can. Try to use your senses in the right way, and study Torah, daven, and as we said, before you go to sleep, if you have a question, you have a dilemma, you have something you want to solve, then you can ask Hashem that He'll deliver you the answer. Okay? So, all right, so we'll end with this for today.